Well guys, today I have the intention of potentially ruining a perfectly good front bumper. I also have to pull this Q50 rear diff off the shelf and open it back up, pull out the internals, because I have something exciting coming for the Q50. Hope you guys will stick around for that too. If you guys have been following along, you'll know that I recently replaced this engine filter from the 350Z. It's got this weird conical design that's supposed to smoothen out the airflow into the filter itself, but in my setup where there's an opening in the front end of the intake, it pushed that air right into this and there wasn't much room around it, so we had to replace that filter. It wasn't necessarily a problem in and of itself, but having that filter, so you can see, goes into this spot. Now we have that inverted conical filter from Canon that the air goes directly into that cone, so that works perfectly. The issue was having this cover on, trying to prevent the hot air from the engine bay making it into the filter. As soon as I put this cover on, I could feel the car almost struggling for air with that other filter because it was only getting air from the front end here. And with that weird cone in there, the plastic cone, air wasn't able to make it into the filter as efficiently or effectively. So that inverted conical filter from Canon is going to work perfect. And I need to improve it even further. What are these spots from? With the hood closed, we're only pulling air out from the front here, so we're gonna add the front bumper vent, which is this guy right here. We got the little carbon fiber style one, actually real carbon fiber, which is pretty cool. I'll put a link in the description below if you guys are interested in this, but this should direct airflow right into that filter. So, should work out. It can be a little nerve-wracking cutting into a front bumper that's worth hundreds of dollars. So I'm going to show you how to make a nice little G35. I'm going to show you how to make a nice template that's going to eliminate any potential for error. First, you basically just want to trace the outside, just like that there. Now we can cut this out, and we know that when we cut this piece of cardboard out, this is going to be the very outside edge, so you'll be able to line it up exactly where you want it on the car. Now don't put your marker away, we got to do a little bit more tracing. Boom, all cut out. So now you got to remember the orientation just so it lines up perfectly. So now what you can do is actually stick the marker down in here and outline the inside edge. And it doesn't have to be perfect, you just have to make sure, just trust me. Just hold it up there nice and firm and then just stick the marker in there as far as you can get it and just kind of trace it. And that'll give you an idea. So that's close enough. We can kind of guesstimate the rest, right? And we can always trim. So we can start with this. So we got it cut out. This is just the initial part. So it lines up here, but now you have to do the reverse to make sure that it's going to fit. So we slide it on there and we can see that we need a little bit of trimming to the top side. And also down here. We can slide it even further just to make sure it lines up. So we'll trim a little off the bottom and a little off this top here. And if we can slide it over, I think flush with this portion, that might be all we need. Okay. There we go, that fits just about right. Everything lines up on the front side. So we know that the hole needs to be about this big. So this, just have to remember the orientation again. So we'll just carry it like this right over to the bumper. So it's gonna go in like this, all right? Need the air to flow that direction. So we know this can go about, we know the outside edge of this template is going to be the outside edge of the vent itself. So you can really line it up wherever you think you'd like it to go. We could put some tape on to hold it in place. We could trace the inside here. And we know that this then will fit perfectly. You can always just start with a little bit at a time and expand it as you'd like, just so you don't have a huge hole. But ultimately, you just don't want the hole to come to the outside edge, because it can really truly be as big as you want it to be, as long as it's smaller than the outside edge of the vent. You just need that to cover. One thing I wish they would have done a little better job was just making this backside flat, so you can put some tape on, the double-sided tape. I don't like the idea of putting screws through. First of all, I don't like how it looks. Well, that's really the only reason. I think it looks stupid screwing it in. If we could just tape it on, there's not going to be any force pushing it out. It would stay in by itself with just a little bit of tape. So I might just try that anyway. As long as the tape's thick enough on that very edge, it might grip, but we'll see. But yeah, that's really the easiest way to do it. I labeled it front just to make it very, very clear. But I also refined it a little bit more, cut the hole a little bit bigger, trim these down, because the last thing I want to do is get too far out to the edge. So the smaller I make it on the outside edge, the least chance, or the less likely it is to go beyond it. So this fits in really nice and tight, and we know for sure we're not going to get outside that edge. That's kind of how I have it lined up now. Close enough to the edge, but not super close. Close enough to the top side. I can just cut in there. There's nothing back behind there, so it should cut out nice and easily. I'll just probably drill a couple little starter holes, pilot holes. Let's just send it. We're just gonna start inside the line a little bit, and we'll trim if we need to. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. This could potentially be about a $300 mistake. Here we go. Got this guy here, fresh little blade. You could use like a Dremel or something, but I didn't want to burn or melt the plastic. And this tore it up pretty good. I'm just gonna connect the dots. See how far off we are. It actually feels like we just need to trim a little, maybe up top, definitely off the bottom. Cuts like butter. All these edges will clean up, obviously. Let's see. Almost on the bottom. Actually, I'm going to take this out a little bit. We're almost there. So this is actually our sticking point now at this point. So we're just gonna cut this little corner out. We should be good. All right, I think that's gonna be about right. I should have put a little tape on here to protect the bumper, but you know, it's all gonna be wrapped anyway, so not that big of a deal. So that's about where I want it. I like that corner right about there. Problem is that it's not totally perfectly formed to the bumper. So I'm gonna pin it down here, actually heat this up down this corner and try to finesse it to have a little bit more contour to fit the bumper perfectly. It's just off by maybe like 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch over here once this corner is pinned. So let's try that out. You can see it gets pretty flimsy when you heat it up, that resin. There it is. I don't actually like the carbon fiber all that much. I'll close the hood, see what it looks like, but I'm trying to decide if I wrap it, just include it with the bumper when we wrap that, or keep a carbon fiber. We'll see. It all depends on what color we choose ultimately. By the way, if you guys have a color you'd really like to see on the Z, let me know in the comments below. I'm really, the red is growing on me, so I might consider doing a variation of red. Black, I would love black, but I think that's sort of out of the question. Just let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm open to ideas at this point. Looks pretty good. Well, that is good news. We didn't ruin the bumper today. We got the intake air vent installed. Pretty simple process. We could attach this with the screws, and maybe we will in the future. There's a couple little spots, or 4 little spots, one on each corner. For the screw, I would just kind of drill a small hole to get it started to make sure everything lines up properly and hit it. But this is just with double-sided tape, and it's in there. It's not going to come off. So it's just temporary. We're going to wrap this car. So I'm not worried about putting screws in it right now anyway, but we'll see what happens. Looks good now, should be functional. We'll test it out. We'll keep you guys posted on how this goes, but if you have any questions or comments or any concerns installing this on your own, let me know in the comments below. I'll help you as best I possibly can, but it's a relatively easy process as long as you create that little template for yourself. Made it quite simple. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate the continued support. We've got more stuff coming for both the Q and the Z, so I hope you'll follow along. See you in the next one.